Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the Greg McAfee Show, where we discuss steps to successful entrepreneurship, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams. Today we're going to be talking about something completely different. I had the privilege of last night to go see the movie The Sound of Freedom, and it was an eye-opener. And I recommend it highly to every American to see this movie, The Sound of Freedom. It is based on a true story starring Jim Caviezel and written by Alejandro Monteverde. And after basically rescuing a boy from the ruthless child traffickers, a federal agent learns the boy's sister is still captive and decides to embark on a dangerous mission to save her. With time running out, he quits his job and journeys deep into the Colombian jungle, putting his life on the line to free her from a fate worse than death. What a movie. I definitely got a little emotional at times. I said it's an eye-opener, and I have been involved with law enforcement in my area for several years, and Crime Stoppers and different law enforcement events. I allow them to use my training facility to hold some of their events, and I'm just a big supporter of the blue. And I came across a video that's really good for the service industry, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit. But first, and we're going to talk about some myths and facts on trafficking. And but first, I just want to play I just feel led today to talk about this because it's real, and we, as you, me, listeners of this, viewers of this, we are in millions of homes a year, and we probably miss things that we should see, and we're going to talk about that. So right now, here's the couple-minute trailer of The Sound of Freedom.
How'd that make you feel? Giving a child his freedom.
Felt good.
You have been at this for 12 years.
My country, 'tis of thee.
Why are you doing it?
Sweet land of liberty.
Because God's children are not for sale. It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces.
And where my fathers died.
And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
Land of the Pilgrim's
And yet somehow you have failed to bring me one real-world lead.
It's over, Tim. Close up and come back home.
So you quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring.
South of that river is all rebel territory. No one goes in.
What if this was your daughter?
So, she's gone.
Hear that? That's the sound of freedom.
Sound of Freedom is one of those films that can legitimately change this world. So we want to ignite a fire in audiences and open their eyes to the dark reality of millions of children that need our help. Let's make this film a historic event and the start, the end of child trafficking. Theaters across this country are already selling out. Pre-order your tickets today, and you can send the message that God's children are no longer for sale.
Okay, as you can see, it's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. I hope you'll go see it. I hope it changes your thinking on what trafficking is, and I hope it just changes your thinking on being more observant and supporting this to stop it, because it's ridiculous, and these are mostly children that they're trafficking. So let's talk about a few myths and facts on trafficking. Child trafficking may not always be obvious or easy to recognize, because the truth is trafficking victims are usually coerced by someone they know and trust. So we've got this myth in our mind that, your child's going to be playing on the playground and someone's going to coerce them into coming over to their car with candy. That does happen, and that has definitely happened, but that's not the norm today. Unfortunately, according to the Polaris Project, an estimated 28 million individuals are currently being trafficked around the world and coerced by someone they know and trust. Myth number 2, all human trafficking involves sex. Well, the fact is, there are 2 types of human trafficking: sex and labor. Sex trafficking is used of force, fraud, or coercing to induce another individual to sell sex. By the way, trafficking today is a $150 billion a year industry. $150 billion a year industry. They're coerced into selling sex, for instance, escort services, pornography, illicit massage businesses, and outdoor solicitations. Myth number 3, human trafficking only happens on illegal or underground industries. The fact is, there have been many cases of human trafficking that have been reported and prosecuted in industries like restaurants, cleaning services, construction jobs, factories, and more. But be on the alert. And if your town holds the Super Bowl or an NBA tournament or college basketball tournaments, it's right there where you live. It's right here where we live anyway. It's on social media. It's on, when you watch this movie, and I hope you do, you will see that they coerce these, especially the younger girls, into pretending that they're model material, and a lot of them are very attractive. And they pretend that they're really talented or they can sing, and they'll bring them to try out. And, in this movie, you'll find out what happens. It's just not good. And it's happening every day, $150 billion industry, folks. Myth number 4, trafficking victims are usually kidnapped by strangers. Like I said earlier, victims of trafficking are usually coerced by someone they know and trust. I just can't imagine this. I really can't. Many survivors are trafficked by romantic partners and family members, model agencies, talent agencies, and believe it or not, including their own parents. I'm sorry, folks, but these people are sick. They're sick. And we need to stop this. We need to do things to stop this and help children in the world. I'm passionate about this, passionate about helping kids. I've been helping kids from the first year in business in some way or form. But this is sick, folks. This is wrong, and this is sick. And we need to pull together and stop this. Myth number 5, you need proof to report child trafficking. The fact is, every citizen, whether a mandatory reporter or not, should report suspected trafficking and child abuse. You do not need proof to make a report, only reasonable suspicion. The authorities will determine if it's occurring or not. And there's many ways to report trafficking. There's a national human trafficking hotline. There is and I'll put the number up there on the screen, but it's 1-888-373-7888. There's you can text to the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 233-733. Message and data rates may apply, but who cares? You text 233-733. And then you can also chat via the National Human Trafficking Hotline at this email address, humantraffickinghotline.org/chat. Okay, so what do you look for? Well, I came across this video, like I said, several years ago, and we've played it to the team at different times, periodically. But it's when you're in a home, when you're in a neighborhood, here are some things to notice and look for. Let's watch this short video real quick.
When you work in the service industry, you see a lot of homes in all sorts of areas. Meet a lot of people and even pets. Out here, you have to take your job seriously and always be on the lookout to find better ways to safeguard the people you serve.
What kind of shop are you guys going here?
Tool and die shop.
Great, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thanks.
Or the products that protect their homes, or services to get their homes running just right. You work hard every day because you don't want to miss a thing.
Like you just did.
Do I have your attention?
Workers who are in people's homes on a day-to-day basis are a critical part of identifying potential cases of human trafficking and combating this horrific crime. When you know what to look for, you can help bring an end to human trafficking.
As service workers, you play an important role in the detection of human trafficking. You are on the front lines, in homes and in neighborhoods. Now that you know some of the signs to look for, you can help save those who are being victimized. Together, we can make a difference. If you identify someone you think may need help, please contact the National Human Trafficking Resource Center at 888-373-7888. This is a toll-free hotline that's available to answer calls from anywhere in the country, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and all calls are confidential. On behalf of the Michigan State Police, thank you for your help in keeping our community safe.
Okay, as you can see, there are things happening out there that we, most of the time, don't pick up on the first time, okay? As they replayed that, some of the things you did not notice were pretty obvious. So we've got to be looking for them. You know, if you're in a home and you see a door locked from the outside, that is a major red flag. I've had a few experiences, but I had an experience. I was in a home a couple times, and I sold these people a new system. And I was sitting at the table, and the husband and wife and their older or I should say adult daughter, lived with them. And I said, I'm going to have to take a look at the outdoor unit. And the grandfather of this child said, is the boy in the back. That rubbed me the wrong way, how he said it right there. And she said, yes. And he said, we'll walk around him. So we walked out there. It's probably a 4-year-old still in a diaper watching TV in this off this patio room with no furniture. And it was fall, so it was a little chilly outside. He had no clothes on but a diaper. They had no heat out there in that room, and he was sitting out there. And that was a major red flag for me. I looked at the outdoor unit. He didn't say 2 words to the little boy. And the little boy was just unkept and just, he may have had some issues. I don't know. But my heart went out for him right away. And he said, when we came back in, the little boy turned and looked at us, and the grandfather said, just keep watching TV. I couldn't get my mind off of it. And while his lazy mother was back there laying on the bed, her son was out there on this patio, cold, watching TV by himself. And I couldn't get my mind off of it. When we went to install, I didn't mention this to the installers, but they called me. And they said, we got a problem here. And when they told me what happened, I called the hotline. I don't care. I called the hotline. Now, I will tell you these customers never did business with us again. And I'm okay with that, but I hope I helped that little boy somehow. Because what they experienced, what my installers experienced, was worse than what I experienced. So be on the look. We're in, like I said, as a group, we're in millions of homes a year. We're in millions of neighborhoods a year. Be on the lookout. Look for this. When you start looking for it, you'll see more. And we'll be able to save. We'll be able to save a few children, or hopefully a lot of children. Okay? So wrapping it up with some red flags that may vary by the type of trafficking, but many include someone who has limited freedom of movement. As you can see just in that little short video, those kids had very little movement. And they constantly have someone with them, usually older at their side, who seems to control them. And they are not allowed to speak for themselves. These are red flags, folks. And they appear very fearful, anxious, depressed, tense, nervous, and paranoid. And when you watch the movie, which I hope you do, you will see they always change their names. So they degrade them with another name. They don't want them to be themselves. They are no longer themselves. They are no longer the loving child that they used to be. They are now just sold for sex. And like they mentioned, I sell you some cocaine, I can only sell it one time. But a child can be sold over and over and over and over again in a day. It's not right, and it's not fair, and it sure isn't biblical, and it sure isn't godly, and it sure isn't right. And that's why we need to stop this. And believe it or not, this movie has been made for 5 years. And the powers to be have tried to stop it from being seen. And it's finally been shown now. And I went last night, and it's been out since July 4th, and the theater was packed. There wasn't an empty seat. So get out there and watch this, please. A couple more things to look for. They seem to change their habits, their behaviors, their activities. They are being controlled and abused. Look for that. They work long hours or unusual hours. They show signs of substance abuse or addiction. They're dressed inappropriately for weather conditions. That little boy was in a diaper on a cold patio. They are They possibly are dressed differently to hide marks or abuse or sometimes tattoos. People do tattoo them for ownership, like you're branding a cow. They distance themselves from family and friends. It's hard to notice until you start seeing the signs. But they show signs, like I said, of poor hygiene, malnutrition, fatigue, physical injuries, or abuse. They have very few personal possessions. They take everything away from them. And they may have tattoos, like I said, which is a branding technique. And they may have multiple cell phones. Or the person with them has multiple cell phones. So, guys, gals, I just want you to be aware of this. I want you to go watch that movie. I recommend it highly. If someone recommends something highly, I just have to go see it regardless. Please go see this movie. It'll change the way you think about this. Feel free to, if you want to know that the video that I showed, I can send that to you so you can let your team watch it. But it's a great video for your team to see. You can reach out in the notes there or send me an email at greg@mcair.com and I'll be glad to send it to you. Okay, again, a different kind of the Greg McAfee Show podcast. Didn't have anything to do with growing your business, but it did, more importantly, it had something to do with saving lives of children and people who are being trafficked. Okay? So before we wrap up, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe below. You can also support this podcast by rating and reviewing on iTunes or your preferred listening platform. Keep listening, because I'll keep challenging you in some way. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram or Facebook at The Greg McAfee Show. No spaces, no underscores. Be sure to tune in next week. Thanks for listening. And as always, carry on. God bless and have a great day.